Newsweek has an interesting article talking about something I've been harping on for the past year, and that is the so-called Storm Z units that are filled with convicts backfilling the Russian military. Now, for those of you that don't know what these are, essentially they are convict units that Russia uses for very dangerous and high attritional battles in Ukraine. It was a similar tactic used by Stalin. The Kremlin has recruited tens of thousands of these prisoners in the last few years to carry out these light infantry led frontal assaults against heavily fortified Ukrainian positions. They've seen exceptional losses in places like Bakhmut and Avdiivka. This mirrors Joseph Stalin's Soviet penal battalions, where each assault group has about 100 to 150 inmates led by some sort of regular troop or officer. These units tend to lose 40 to 70% of their personnel after only a few days of fighting, but Russia continues to stream 10 to 20,000 convicts into Ukraine every month. Now, the Russian prison charity called Russia Behind Bars has said that Russia has used about 100,000 inmates, with 50,000 of them fulfilling their duties and now walking the streets of Russia, having received a pardon. And that's the thing that's kind of sickening about all of this, is after 6 months of service in the Russian military, you are fully pardoned no matter what your crimes are and no matter how much time you had served. The same charity I just talked about, Russia Behind Bars, has accounted for 17 separate high-profile convicts that were issued pardons. All of them were murderers with some sort of rape or cannibalism thrown on top of that. One Russian convict killed 4 teenagers as a part of a satanic ritual in which he fried and ate his victims' organs. He was pardoned by Putin after serving 6 months in a Storm Z unit in Ukraine and now lives with his mom. How sweet. A separate cannibal was pardoned by Putin for his service, and he killed and ate his victim's legs. Another was pardoned as a criminal who raped and killed a 23-year-old woman last year, was sentenced to 20 years in prison this previous February, in February of 2023, and in November he had fulfilled his service, was pardoned, and moved back to the hometown where he committed these crimes. Another murderer put his girlfriend through a meat grinder. He was sentenced to 17 years in a Siberian prison back in 2022, and was just pardoned recently. Apparently, this pardon, this recent one, caused a huge amount of backlash, which forced the Kremlin to justify what they're doing. Now, there has been no official acknowledgement that Russia's created the Storm Z units, but they do acknowledge that they are using inmates. Dmitry Peskov said that these convicts have not escaped punishment, but instead have atoned with blood for their crimes on the battlefield in assault brigades under bullets and shells. In September, Putin himself admitted that these convicts gave their lives for the motherland and have fully absolved themselves of their guilt. For the record, Ukraine doesn't recruit convicts, and the United States actually bans anyone with a felony, whether they were incarcerated or not, from joining the military. The level of depravity in Russia knows no depths.